I still remember the exact moment my life shattered into a million pieces. The smell of coffee in the office kitchen. The low hum of the copy machine. The sunlight coming through the window. Everything was normal. Too normal. Until my phone rang. It was Daniel. My husband. I smiled when I saw his name pop up on the screen. We didn't usually talk during work hours unless it was important, but I never imagined what was about to happen. I picked up, expecting to hear his voice say something sweet or maybe something silly. He was good at both. But instead I heard cold silence. "I'm not coming back." I froze. "What?" I laughed nervously. "Daniel, what are you talking about?" "I'm done. Don't try to call me. Don't look for me. I'm gone." And then, click. That was it. No warning. No explanation. Just a flat goodbye over the phone like I was a stranger. A ghost. I stood there in the middle of the office, my heart pounding so loudly I couldn't hear anything else. I must have stood there for a full minute just holding the phone waiting for it to ring again. It didn't. I packed my things and rushed home. My heart was racing, my hands were trembling, but I kept telling myself it had to be a joke or a breakdown or something fixable. Daniel loved me. We'd built a life together. I gave him everything, everything. When I got home, the front door was unlocked. That was the first bad sign. The second was the eerie silence. I walked through every room like I was in a dream. His clothes. Gone. His laptop, his toothbrush, even his favorite mug. Gone. Everything that was him had vanished. I ran to the bedroom and flung open the drawers. Empty. Every one of them. And then I checked our shared bank account. Zero. Not a single cent left. That's when I fell to my knees. I couldn't even scream. It was like my voice had left my body the same way he had. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold my phone. I checked every account, savings, checking the little emergency fund I'd worked so hard to build. All gone. He had cleaned me out. That man, Daniel, the one I cooked for, laughed with, shared my secrets and dreams with, had stolen everything and disappeared like a thief in the night. I sat on the floor for what felt like hours. My mind was racing in circles trying to figure out where I had gone wrong. We were happy, or so I thought. He was between jobs, so I'd been supporting us financially. I never once complained. I believed in him. I even gave him access to everything. My cards, my passwords, my trust. And he used all of that to vanish. But the worst part? It wasn't even the money. It was the way he made me feel so disposable. Like I was nothing more than a stepping stone. Like he just waited until he got everything he wanted. And then flipped the switch. People say you know someone after years of being with them. I was with Daniel for 4. And I never saw it coming. I sat in that empty apartment, surrounded by memories that suddenly felt like lies. Our wedding photo was still on the wall mocking me. His scent still lingered in the air like he'd only just walked out the door. But he wasn't coming back. And something in me, something deep, silent, and burning, woke up that night. Because if he thought he could just disappear with my heart, my money, and my future, he had no idea who he was messing with. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat on the floor, staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of betrayal pressing down on me like a boulder. I replayed every conversation, every moment, every kiss, every stupid little smile he gave me. Trying to see it. The signs. The cracks. But there was nothing. Nothing obvious. He wore his mask too well. By morning my body ached, but I forced myself to move. I went to the police station thinking maybe, just maybe, they could help. I told them he stole from me. That he cleaned out our joint accounts and disappeared. They took my statement. But the way they looked at me, like I was just another heartbroken woman who trusted the wrong man. I wasn't the first. I wouldn't be the last. They said it would be hard to prove theft between spouses unless there was violence or a court order. I walked out of there feeling even more invisible than before. I tried calling him, over and over. Straight to voicemail. Texted. Emailed. Even messaged his old friends on social media. No one knew anything. Or if they did, they weren't talking. It was like he'd vanished into thin air. Then came the rumors. The whispers. One of his cousins told someone who told someone else that Daniel had been planning this for months. That he had met another woman. A younger one. Rich apparently. And that the two of them had left the country together. I didn't want to believe it. But deep down, I knew it was true. And that was when the pain turned into humiliation. I became the woman who got dumped over the phone. Who had her life savings stolen. who believed in a man who never loved her to begin with. People started looking at me differently. Pity in their eyes. Or worse, judgment. Like I was stupid for not seeing it coming. But none of them knew what it felt like to be so completely erased. To have someone look you in the eyes for years, tell you they love you, hold your hand through storms, only to use that same hand to rip everything away. I went through the motions. Work. Home. Silence. Crying in the shower so no one would hear. I lost weight. I stopped answering calls. The world kept moving, but I was stuck in one long horrible moment. Until one day about 2 weeks after he left, I was clearing out our closet, the one he emptied. And I found it. A small, black box tucked behind a pile of old files on the top shelf. I almost missed it. My heart stopped when I opened it. Inside was a burner phone. Not his main phone. Not the one he used around me. This one was different. No fingerprint lock, no password. Just a screen full of messages and contacts I didn't recognize. I sat down right there on the bedroom floor and started going through it. What I found made my skin crawl. Messages to someone named Leo. Dozens of them. Talking about accounts, transfers, deals. One message said, "Once I get her money, we're free to go." Another one said, "She trusts me too much. She has no idea." I felt sick. Physically sick. This wasn't just him falling out of love. This was planned. Premeditated. He'd used me like a business opportunity. Like a mark. And I wasn't going to let that be the end of my story. Because suddenly the heartbreak didn't matter as much. The tears dried up. And something cold and steady settled inside me. He thought he'd broken me. Thought he could disappear and live happily ever after on my money. But he left a trail. A mistake. No. Now it was my turn. I didn't tell anyone about the burner phone. Not even my closest friend. It felt like my secret weapon, the one thing Daniel hadn't planned for. I spent that whole night scrolling through every message, screenshotting everything and backing it up. The more I read, the more I realized how deep the betrayal went. There were messages going back months. He'd been talking to Leo about crypto wallets, offshore accounts, and how to extract funds cleanly without suspicion. My funds. My life savings. My future. There were even notes about how to lie to me. Act frustrated. Pretend to be tired. Keep her off balance. It was all there in black and white. But what caught my attention most was a string of recent messages to Leo about an upcoming deal. Something big. Apparently, Leo was some kind of fixer. He helped people like Daniel flip stolen money through fake investments. One message said, "I'll be back online once it's moved. I don't trust public Wi-Fi where I'm at." That meant Daniel was still hiding but very much active. And then I had a thought. What if I messaged Leo? He didn't know me. He thought Daniel still had that phone. If I played it right, I could get information. Maybe even find him. I took a deep breath, opened the last thread and typed. Change of plans. Need to move funds faster. Got a new investor. Will loop you in soon. And just like that, I hit send. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it. But within seconds a reply came. Understood. Just send wallet address. I'll prep the layout. I stared at the screen stunned. It worked. He thought I was Daniel. I had a direct line to the guy helping him hide my money. I spent the next 2 days learning everything I could about crypto. I didn't understand half of it at first, but I forced myself to read, watch videos, ask anonymous questions on forums. I had one goal, set a trap. Meanwhile, I kept the conversation with Leo going. I pretended to be Daniel, using short, casual responses like he did. Leo never once questioned it. He was so comfortable, so arrogant, I could almost hear his voice in the text. By the end of the week, I had created a fake identity. New name. New social accounts. I even designed a profile for a fake investor. Someone rich, mysterious, and hungry for high-risk crypto deals. I messaged Leo from this fake identity, saying I was referred by Daniel, and ready to invest a large sum, but only through someone I trusted. Leo bit immediately. He started asking questions, trying to feel me out. I played coy, acting like I had no clue who Daniel really was. I made myself sound green but wealthy. A perfect target. Within a few days, Leo was sending wallet addresses and pitch decks. And that's when I saw it. A name. An actual name linked to a shell company. One that matched a transaction in the burner phone records. It wasn't much, but it was enough. I traced the name, then the company, and eventually found an address tied to a property overseas. I zoomed in on the map. It was a villa. Somewhere warm. And on the property management site I saw a review posted just 5 days earlier. With a picture of Daniel smiling beside a woman I'd never seen before. He looked relaxed. Happy. Like he hadn't just ruined someone's life and run away. I saved the image. Stared at it for a long time. He wasn't hiding anymore. He felt safe. Untouchable. That's what made him weak. I knew then what I had to do. I wasn't going to call the police. I wasn't going to chase him down or beg him to return what he stole. No. I was going to play this game the way he played me. Calculated. Quiet. And deadly precise. He thought he won. But I was just getting started. I spent the next 3 days perfecting the trap. Every word, every message, every move. I rehearsed it like a performance because that's exactly what it was. I became someone else entirely. The rich investor with deep pockets and no clue what she was walking into. I called her Ava, and she had just enough charm and naivety to lure them both in. Through the burner phone I kept the conversation with Leo going, still posing as Daniel. I told him Ava was real, that she was eager but cautious. That she wanted to invest big but she needed reassurance. I even told him she preferred to deal with Daniel directly. That's when Leo hesitated. He didn't like the idea of Daniel revealing himself. So I pushed. Gently. Persistently. I told him Daniel trusted Ava. That this deal could be their biggest yet. I could feel Leo's greed through every message. It wasn't long before he gave in. He said he'd set up a secure wallet. A temporary joint wallet where Daniel and Ava could both move funds in and out. It was the perfect setup. I registered a new email under Ava's name, used it to message Leo directly and continued the conversation from there. I kept everything slow and steady like a real investor. Asked questions. Posed concerns. And when the timing was right I said the words I knew would change everything. I'm ready to invest. Can we move $150,000 first as a trial run? Leo didn't even blink. He sent the wallet address. I could practically hear Daniel's laugh from thousands of miles away, thinking he'd struck gold again. He had no idea who he was really dealing with. I took the address and set up my own tracker. Then I moved a tiny test amount into the wallet, just enough to look serious. Within an hour, Leo confirmed they'd received it. He even sent a thank you message adding, "Daniel says he knew you were the real deal." That part made me smile. The next day I told them I was ready for the full transfer. I gave them a specific time, late evening, when I knew Daniel would be relaxing in that overpriced villa with his new lover, thinking the world was at his feet. At exactly 7 p.m. I transferred the rest. Or at least that's what they thought. What I actually did was trigger a smart contract. One I'd carefully built using everything I learned over the past weeks. The moment they tried to move the funds, it rerouted everything into a separate cold wallet. One they couldn't touch. In seconds the money was gone. All of it. Not just the fake $150,000 I'd promised, but everything in that wallet, including the funds Daniel had been hoarding from me. My money. My savings. My future. Back where it belonged. I waited for the explosion. It didn't take long. Just after midnight the burner phone buzzed. A flood of messages from Leo. What's going on? Funds are missing. Did you pull it? Call me. And then finally, Daniel is freaking out. What did you do? I let it sit. I wanted them to squirm. An hour later the phone rang. It was him. Daniel. For the first time since that horrible call I heard his voice again. But this time he wasn't cold or confident. He was shaking. I didn't answer. Not yet. I just stared at the screen, my heart pounding, watching his name flash over and over. That voice that used to make me melt, now made me feel nothing. Eventually I picked up. I didn't say a word. "Hello," he said. "Who is this?" Silence. "Is this Ava? What's going on?" He stopped. Then his voice dropped. "Wait, is this?" That's when I spoke. Calm, quiet, steady. "Hi, Daniel." There was a pause so long I thought the line had gone dead. Then he whispered, No, it can't be." "Oh, but it is." He stammered, trying to form words, but nothing came out. So I kept going. "You remember that phone call you gave me? When you left me with nothing. This is mine." His breath caught. I could hear it, the panic, the realization. "You took my money," I said, "and you ran. You thought you'd disappear, live a new life with someone else. But you made one mistake." He didn't speak. You underestimated me. And then I ended the call. Just like he had. No warning. No explanation. Only this time, I was the one in control. After I hung up, I sat there in silence, staring at the screen like it was some kind of portal to my old life. But the truth was, that version of me, the one who trusted blindly, who handed over everything to a man who saw her as nothing more than a stepping stone, she was gone. I had buried her somewhere between the first lie and the last transfer. Daniel didn't call back. Not immediately. I think he was in shock. I imagine he stood there, phone in hand, pacing whatever luxury villa he'd escaped to, realizing his perfect plan had crumbled. Realizing that the woman he thought was weak, broken, and gullible had just outplayed him. It was quiet for a full day. No messages from Leo either. I figured they were scrambling, blaming each other, tearing at the seams. And part of me enjoyed knowing that they were finally feeling the weight of what they did to me. But I wasn't done yet. I didn't just want justice. I wanted closure. I wanted to look him in the eye, not to ask why, but to let him see what he'd created. So I made the final move. I sent Daniel one message. Just one line. If you want to see the rest of what's coming, meet me on a video call. One time. No tricks. I didn't expect him to agree. But deep down I think he needed it too. He replied within minutes. Tonight. 9 p.m. No Leo. That night I sat down in front of my laptop, dressed in the same black blouse I wore the day he proposed to me. A quiet reminder of what we used to be, what he threw away. At exactly 9 p.m. the screen lit up. And there he was. Daniel. His face looked different. Older. Tired. No smile, no arrogance. Just hollow eyes and a heavy breath. He stared at me like he didn't even recognize the woman on the other end of the screen. I didn't say anything at first. Just looked at him. Let the silence do the work. He finally spoke. You destroyed everything. I tilted my head. Did I? You stole it back. The money. You ruined the deal. Leo's gone underground. Good, I said. Now you know how it feels. He shook his head like a child caught in a lie. I was desperate, okay? I lost my job, I had nothing. I didn't want to hurt you, You just wanted to use me, I cut in. Say it. He looked away. Say it. He clenched his jaw. I used you. There it was. The truth. Simple. Ugly. I leaned in. You took 4 years of my life. My trust. My money. And then you walked away like I was nothing. I thought I was doing what I had to. No, I said, calm but firm. You did what you wanted to do. Because you thought I wouldn't fight back. His lips parted like he wanted to defend himself, but there was nothing left to say. I could see the shame now. The fear. But it didn't move me. I was done feeling sorry for him. I hope wherever you go next, I said, you remember this face. The woman who didn't just survive you, but beat you. He swallowed hard. What are you going to do now? I smiled just slightly. Live. And then I ended the call. No long speech. No goodbye. Just a clean break. This time I was the one who disappeared, on my terms. And as the screen went dark, I realized something powerful. Revenge didn't heal me. But it reminded me of who I was before him. And who I'll never be again.